Kayla, please like and subscribe.
A question. Let me ask all the four of you guys a question. So when we're looking at that stuff, right? When we're looking at the projects out there and all of those kind of things and stuff, for you guys, what do you guys feel about the 1000x coins or that mindset or whatever, you know? And then the secondary question I have to that, do you think that we need to start looking for a different term for DeFi rather than decentralized finance as a whole, right? Is it more like maybe a hybrid of something, right? I think people get caught up so much in DeFi and they think, no control, no nothing. We want it all ourselves. It's just us. But the centralized, I can't do that. I don't want my stuff on Coinbase. They control my stuff. So I always wonder, and again, I'm not trying to start anything, but I always wonder is given that notion, right? These 1000x coins and rug pulls and all that stuff, do we need to maybe think of a new term for this, you know, for a new term or a new something to wrap this in that's a little different now? Because is it truly DeFi anymore if it's not, or has the spirit of DeFi maybe changed now to what it's supposed to be? Maybe it starts off with one thing and it has to grow and evolve too, which is, I think, is very good as well. So what do you guys think about that?
I'll let somebody else go first.
Go ahead, Greg. Yeah, I think that's what, you know, SafeMoon's kind of trying to do, trying to create, you know, an umbrella for the, like you said, the community and the ecosystem to evolve into something different where it's not just the, you know, you got this DeFi coin, but everything's kind of working together, partnerships, and I think that it will be termed something different, and people will get confused with, oh, is that not DeFi? Well, kind of, but it's evolving. Yeah. You know, I think we're going to get to that point where people start questioning and wondering what's different about it, and the whole dynamic of everything will change. That's my perspective of it.
Holly, what do you think?
Well, actually, Greg kind of stole what I was going to say.
See, he says I do that to him all the time, so I had to let him go first.
Don't you guys check stuff in the chat during the talk? Don't you chat with each other and say what you're going to say? Come on.
No, I know, right?
No, we're real.
No, we like to step on each other's toes. Go ahead.
I'll answer your first question about what do I think about the 1000x coins coming out. They're very risky, and I feel like you know, you do got to do your research and all that good stuff. But if it's something that you can make money off of, I am all for it. A lot of people, you know, get married to these coins and or tokens, and you're expected to hold it forever, and people come after you if you don't. Am I frozen? Oh.
No. You're talking about Greg. Yeah, you're talking about Greg, so I had to pat him.
Forever.
Well, and the thing is it's okay to hold it if it's something you truly believe in. That's okay. But it's not, what's not okay is to, you know, go after the people who don't want to hold it, that do want to flip it and do want to make money. So, you know, if, you know, the 1000x token is something that I want to invest in to make money, I'm going to do it. If it's something I want to invest in to hold, I'm going to do it. So, I mean, it just kind of varies from person to person, but we all have to, as a community, as, you know, just people as a whole, we need to stop bashing people for doing what they want to do with these 1000x coins. You know, that's just really where my opinion lies on that.
Yeah, and to take that a step further, we just saw that with Mirror Protocol BTC, where people are like, why are you selling? Well, the people that bought in at 2.8 cents, or I think is what it launched at, and it, you know, got up to, you know, 1,600% up, depending on how much money they put into it, they had a chance to make some money. That's totally their call. I have no issues with that. And it's good for the ecosystem, because now you're going to get reflections on that, and we need money moving. If everybody just bought into certain coins and never did another thing, those are going to end up dying because they're not going to move. So I'm with you, Molly, 100%.
With these, you know, with these mirror protocols that are coming out, like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I got into the BTC Mirror MP, and that was not one that I was like, okay, this is the one, because I am more of a B&B type of girl. I know, you know, there's people have their opinions, but I am. And so I did buy into it. I actually made some profit. I sold out so that I can buy into B&B. But that is my opinion, because I think B&B for me is going to be beneficial, because everything I buy is with B&B. Mm-hmm. Therefore, my reflections are going to be able to sell those and put them into other projects if I want to.
It just keeps the ecosystem going.
That's exactly what it is. You know, and people are like, well, do you feel bad that, you know, because it's Gotti? And I'm like, you know, I love Gotti. But no, because I made some money, but I'm putting it right back into another part of his project. So I don't feel bad about it.
But even if you didn't, Holly, the first thing everybody needs to remember is it's your money. You can do with it what you want.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to invest in any coin out there ever that no one sells, you are in the wrong realm here. Like, that's not going to happen.
No, I'm most excited for B&B and XRP. And I've said that from the very beginning. Those are the two I'm really going to, you know, really look into. Those are my two. I just did BTC because I could. Okay, like I got in. I was not one of the lucky ones that got in at, you know, no 2 cents. Hell, I mean, I got in at 16 cents. However, I still made money off of it.
Yeah.
No, and that's Holly. We haven't even talked about this, but B&B and XRP were the two I was stoked about too. It just so happens it sounds like they're the next two coming out. So I also believe there's a lot of people that are more. I see him zipping his lips. I also believe there's more people.
Where I will slowly disappear as you guys start to talk. We start to get into an area that that you're just gonna all of a sudden just see. It's just gonna go like this. It's gonna be all. So when MP is going to do this, then you're just going to see this happen.
Fades to black.
Hey, it wouldn't be the first time. Don Bailey actually put us on black, so it was like, oh, see you guys later. You know?
Yeah, he did.
But, you know, I don't think you're the only one. So is there going to be profits to be made on the B&B Mirror Protocol? Absolutely. Will people take them? Absolutely. Will some people not sell? Absolutely. And it's all okay. But to jump on one another for that, one, you have the choice what you do with your money. You also have the choice to tell people what you do with your money. If you don't tell them, they don't know. You know. But if you do decide to choose to do that, I will never understand why people get upset with what you do with your money. I just never will.
I'll say this. I understand. I do. I understand why people get upset. Like I do understand. Like I get why people get upset, and I totally understand the mindset. Because it's a community thing, and we believe one thing, and we really get so caught up in our own beliefs that sometimes we forget that there's a bigger picture at play sometimes, you know?
Sure.
I'm not that guy, right? Like I'm the opposite of Holly, right? Like I buy everything. I will buy every single bag, I will put every single coin. I will put $30 like Don did into every single thing I can, and I will hold some stuff and I'll sell other stuff. I mean, I think it gets a little ridiculous. I don't listen to that noise of it, that side of the business. I don't really listen to that sometimes, because for me, I think, and I've talked about this on Spaces so many times, but I think that we get so caught up in what's going on and we forget. Guys, the only way this works is if shit is bought. The only way this works is if stuff is bought and sold. That's it. If stuff gets bought and sold, we'll cut that out in post.
Good.
Tell
us how you really feel.
I was going to say you won't be the first person. Holly's actually beat you to it.
But I think the only way that the ecosystem works is if crypto is bought and crypto is sold, and crypto is traded and crypto is moved, and that's the way it works. And it doesn't really matter what it is. It has to be bought and sold for it to work. Now, some tokens are more advantageous. Some coins are more advantageous to do that than another, right? Probably don't really want to spend a whole lot of time trading and moving BBTF. At least I wouldn't. You probably are going to be in a pretty bad position if you tried to trade a token with 32% tax, total in and out total. I mean, that's probably not going to help you too much unless it goes up really high. But hey, your choice. If you want to, I got to catch myself with what I almost said there. If you want to, I almost made a metaphor reference that I don't want to make on this because
we can always edit. So.
But if you want to do that and that's your jam, hey, more power to you. I have no issue with that kind of stuff. I'm all down for that stuff. I think my biggest thing and where I wonder, and I don't, again, please understand anyone listening to this podcast that there's no part of what I'm saying is putting values on good or bad. on this stuff. I wonder though sometimes on the, oh man, and I hate saying this because I know a lot of people are going to come after me, but when we're in the degen side of things and we're really talking about the degen plays and stuff, I do it also. I did it for a while. How can I say this good? Let's say it like this. I made the decision, just like Holly just said, I made the personal decision for myself, nobody else. Like nobody else do I make that decision for. Please, by all means. But I made the personal decision for myself to say, I'm not investing in that stuff anymore. Like I'm not going to do that anymore because for me, I feel like it's the dark side of crypto that we can all make money on, which is awesome. And if you guys want to do that, I mean, that's awesome for you guys. But I had to make a decision for myself, you know, kind of like, you know, yeah, I could leave the litter on the ground because what does it matter? I mean, it's one piece of litter in a world of billions of people, but you know, you're not going to change the world with picking up one piece of litter, but can you? And so for me, that's how I look at it is like, yes, I understand. Like there's a lot of people out there that can make a lot of money, and I've made a lot of money on some of those plays in the past, and not just in crypto, right? There's other you know, avenues to do this. I talk about them all the time. There's projects, there's Forex projects. There's, you know, guys, go on Facebook.
Stocks. Penny stocks. You know, that's where I made my initial money. Is penny stocks.
So penny stocks. There's affiliate marketing. There's crypto arbitrage program. I can go on and on. There's literally hundreds of ways. Just DM me and I'll give you 10 ways tomorrow that you can go out and take $500 and turn it into 10 grand. You can also take $500 and lose that money too. You can also take $500, over leverage yourself and be out $500,000 pretty quickly, by the way.
Yes.
So my point is like, it all is out there. And I've done it for a long, long, long time. I've been a part of those communities, positive and negative, right? And I've made those decisions to sit there and say, ah, man, I know this is not going to go well. They're going to do it. And then I got involved and I made a whole bunch of money. Or I've done the other way too, you know, threw 8 grand or 9 grand into COTPS because I was like, daily arbitrage, I'm going to make 3%. All I have to do is punch a button. I can put a script on that and I can have it operate on my computer automatically all day. I never even have to look. And at the end of every day, I'm making a max of 3%. Boom, I'm golden, baby. Every single day, just clearing money. And then they pulled it. And I lost at the time that 9 grand, but at the time there was over $63,000 in that account that I lost. And so I've done those things before. And it was really, that was the one for me. That single one was the one where I said, you know what, I'm not doing this stuff anymore, man. I'm not going to invest in these things. I started going into spaces and I started just hearing this and I'm like, maybe I can make a difference by just saying I'm not participating anymore. And maybe if enough people don't participate, then those things won't be able to catch fire and go. And man, I know I hate saying that because I love people that can make money. And there's some people that have made life-changing money doing that, which is awesome. And I applaud them. And that's really, really cool. But for me, I had to make that decision for myself to say, you know, I don't agree with what let's say this. How about I say it this way? I don't agree with what 90% of those projects aim to do. The 10% of them, I love them, and it's so awesome that they're the good ones. But the 90% bother me so much, and I personally can't be involved in it anymore. You know what I mean? Like it made me feel dirty doing those things anymore. And so that's why I had to go out. That being said, you know, and I've done it before. I've been on spaces and been all DJ, you know, it got to be all this stuff. I've done all that. But you know, like for me, like I'm like, I feel like a hypocrite. You know what I mean? I feel like a hypocrite growing in, but then on the back end, I have no right say anything to tell anyone what they're doing. I made a decision on something I saw. Who the hell am I? Am I God? Am I the law? Am I the regulators? No, I'm a nobody. I'm some joke guy here in California that's done a couple of things, never done anything. And I made a decision, but I have no right to tell anyone else how to invest their money. If you want to do that, great. You know, it's going to be up to, and this is really where I fall on these things. Like I can set my standards on what I'm going to do, but I don't get to say what somebody else is going to do. So until somebody from high comes down and says, that's it, this stuff's not happening anymore. That's when then I will sit there and say, okay, now legally we can't do this stuff anymore. So let's stop. But until that happens, like, who am I to say what's right or wrong? How do I know that the next big technology thing isn't going to come from one of those degen plays. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that. So it's really, I think that's where we get into the really gray area of crypto, when we get into, you know, the old degen mindset, and then we look at it like it's just, and I know I've done it too, but we look at it like degens, bad negative, you know, and all that. It's like, that's not always true either. Like, right?
Yeah.
Chris is degen through and through, bro. And do we not like Meta Captain? I mean, do we not like? He's amazing. He's like one of the best people in the space.
He's so smart.
He's so smart, but he's a good person, dude. He's a really, 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 I cannot say enough really's, good person. So do we want to, he's degen too. So it's that's the really gray area where I and maybe it's me. I have a really hard time. I'm like Holly. I try to be positive all the time. So I have a really hard time sitting there and saying anything is absolutely 100% bad. I just try to stay stuff from my own personal point of view and my own stuff. And I'm like Holly, I'm like anyone else. I'll definitely tell you my opinion for sure, 100%. But I will always, and I may get passionate about it. I may say stuff that's very passionate, but I will always try to catch myself at the end and say, but guys, that's my opinion, and who the heck am I? I don't know better. I'm a really passionate guy, but that's just passion. I'm not so
that's good.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think there's something to be said too on, at the end of the day, whatever you do, whether we're talking about crypto or how you live your life or how you make your money or whatever, can you sleep at night? You know, because there are certain times where even getting involved in something that maybe I didn't realize was shady until after the fact, and then I was like, like I don't really feel good about this. I'm getting out of it. You know? But if Greg decided he wanted to do it, if he asked me my opinion, I will give it to him, but at the end of the day, it's his decision. Now, I love Greg like a brother, so if it was really bad, I would really spend some time trying to talk him out of it.
Right.
But you understand what I'm saying. There are people that can do things that I can't do and still sleep at night. Whereas
100%.
I'm the guy that would sit there all night long worrying about it, so I stay out of it. That's just me. I don't mess with it.
That is such a good thing, though, Josh. You just hit that so important. There are certain things that you will do, that you won't do, that other people will. And that single act doesn't mean that it's a bad or good thing, right? I mean, and we get caught up in that sometimes.
And that doesn't mean
you don't, I do, so it's bad.
And that doesn't mean I have to hate you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't mean we have to be mortal enemies. We can still have civil conversations. And we're losing a little bit of that in our civilization, unfortunately, I believe. Don't mean to get on a soapbox, but...
Dude, I could go off on that so much. Look, all of us from 30 to 60 years old, I've literally done stuff on this. 30 to 60 have been raised with two things in mind that we don't talk about. What are the two things we are not allowed to talk about? Politics and religion, right?
Yeah.
What are the two things right now in society that nobody can come to terms on, that everybody has a problem with?
Those two things.
Politics, both sides. Religion,
because nobody's talked about it.
Nobody knows how to talk about it, so we never talked about it for the last 25 years. You would start a conversation, and what happens? We don't talk about politics anymore. So now what happens? You can't talk to I'll be the first one. I can be a diehard Democrat, liberal, GOP, whatever I am. And it is impossible sometimes for people to talk to the other side of the aisle because we haven't learned how to do that. We never had to. We started conversation, it was like, and so like,
because they put up a wall.
Well, I heard somebody say this one time. This isn't my original thought, but conversations used to start with "I feel," and then there was a conversation. Now that's how conversations end. Once you say, "Well, I feel this way," you can't talk about it anymore. And we're losing something in society. Not to get crazy over into that conversation, but that's why this podcast is set up the way it is, so that even if you and I, Bert, don't agree on something, we can still have a conversation about it, and we can still maybe educate people on it, or maybe it's just strictly entertainment. I don't know. But we are, at the end of the day...
somewhere in the middle, though. That's
I don't know how I feel.
Agreed. But at the end of the day, we're all human, and we can have conversation. And that's what it's all about. So...
Well, I feel like if Caleb sells all his Doge, we can't be friends.
That's right.
Caleb's gonna go sell right now. Let's break.
Wow.
He wants out.
Test.
Family.
So the last
I missed
thing
out on all that. I missed out on all of that stuff, bro. Like, I did not have the appetite at the point. I was so negative on everything when, God, it was really Doge, right? Doge was really the first meme, I think. I mean, I know people say that, but I'm really trying to think back. I think Doge was really the first big one. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was the first big one when it came to everyone knowing about it.
That
had
nothing
to do with crypto.
Right. It was there before everybody knew about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you really got into Doge early, you could have made a lot of money. You still could cash out today and make a lot. I mean,
it was a joke to begin with.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I didn't. Somebody's smiling on the other screen.
I'm proud of my Doge.
Yeah.
You did awesome though, but I missed out on all of those things. I was so crazy into institutional trading at that point and Forex, and I was so heavy into that stuff that anything outside of let's just call it what it is, anything outside of the blue chips of that time, like I didn't want to have anything to do with any of those things because I thought it was all garbage and all that kind of stuff. And because I was so deep into Forex that I had kind of stepped outside of crypto a little bit. And so I didn't catch any of those waves or any of that stuff because I was so heavy into those other things. But my friends all went crazy on that stuff and made a ton of money on a bunch of different on those pumps. So
see, I don't like Doge because of that. I like Doge because it was a joke, but technically it's a great network. I mean, it really, and that's why Elon Musk loves it so much. There's more to it than just a meme, but it also brought crypto to the forefront and brought it up. That was the good thing about Doge. Not necessarily, everybody made money on it, but it made crypto a thing that everybody looked at.
It opened the door for people to take a look beyond what Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Everyone had heard of Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, but nothing else. Maybe you heard of XRP because it was in the news and the lawsuits or whatever. But the rest of it was all, I didn't involve in crypto. But when Doge hit, everybody knew about Doge, and everybody wanted to. I know Doge, that meme coin or the dog or whatever. They may not have known anything, but they at least knew Doge was crypto.
So, Grandma and Grandpa and everybody.
And if everybody puts $100 into a project, that thing skyrockets pretty fast. So the last thing crypto related here, and then we're going to get into more about you, Bert, because I think people that have watched so far can tell that this is good conversation. And so I want to talk more personal stuff, not just crypto. But so we had the BNB hack that just happened. I don't know all the details on it, and I don't want to get into all the technical side of it, but it shows us that there is still security that needs to be implemented. And then the next thing I see is hashtag SafeMoon orbital shield. So could the timing be more perfect, I guess, is my question.
It's a setup. They set it up. That's why CP was talking to John. No,
that's what he said.
Yes, inside job.
Yeah. He goes, it has to be an inside job. I was like, I don't know that's an inside job, but it sure does bring a lot more eyes to the orbital shield. And, anytime something like that happens and we laugh about it, I always try to remember that somebody lost money. Like, it's a bad deal somewhere for someone. But every time we fix these problems, I feel like we're getting to the next level of the DeFi or whatever it needs to be called now, because you were right earlier and I never did address it. It's evolving. It's turning into something else. I'm just not the guy that can name it. So you don't want me to name it. But things like that come to the forefront. We see that there's already things in process that are working towards fixing those sort of things. And SafeMoon might be at the front of that. They may not be. I don't know. I can't read everything about every technology out there. But you have anything to add to that, Bert? Because I know you're pretty smart when it comes to that sort of stuff.
I would say this. I've been pretty deep into kind of trying to find out what went on and just listening to guys. I am not, by no shape and imagination am I Don or Brian or Conjuroni or any of the guys, Crypto James, any of the guys that can break these things down on the blockchain. But myself, when I look at this, I look at this as more of the, endemic problem that we have with crypto that everyone knows about, hacks and all those kind of things. But I tend to look at it like you did, Josh. I try to see the positive side and try to say, look, there's bigger things at play here going on. There's other things that I think behind the scenes that we don't know about. Things like orbital shield and some of that stuff will obviously help. And I hate to say that things like this are necessary, because they're not. They're horrible when they happen. But when things like this happen, it's like Don said this morning, it's the reaction to those things. How do we as a company, or how does finance as a company react to that stuff?
Right.
That's where that's really where it happens. They reacted so fast. Mm-hmm. They reacted so well. I don't know what the final numbers were, but I know we were up at $566 million at some point, and then I think that's come down now to something around like 63 million or something.
Yeah, they were able to freeze some of it, but I don't know the final numbers either. So
yeah, they froze 7 million initially, I think, and then they were able to do. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on, I think, there. But my point is that the reaction to me is really what mattered. They were able to react fast, and they should be applauded for that. Yeah. Because look, this stuff happens in every sector of life. If you don't think this stuff is happening at banks and all that stuff all the time, it absolutely is. Every single day, there's penetration testing going on that is not, not something that Chase hired. There's people trying to penetrate their systems every day, and they probably do.
Yeah, and you just don't hear about it.
Correct. We just never hear about those things. So these things are necessary to move the space forward. I feel so sorry for anyone that was affected by, that loss, whether it was all the way up to CZ and all the way down to the developers at Binance, to people that may have lost money if it was customer money. Although I think that was something like the Treasury wallet or
I think so too.
Or what do they call it? It's not the Treasury. What do they call it? It has a name and I can't remember. But anyway,
if you wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you.
I know, right?
We were just talking about it.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. Now I can't remember what it's called.
I know, but anyway, so I think there is some positives to be taken out of this. On the SafeMoon side, I will say this: I absolutely think that Orbital Shield. Don said it this morning, right? There is a component to Orbital Shield that absolutely would have helped this. Mm-hmm. So I think that's coming. I think they'll license that out, and I mean, look, you're talking about the people, the Sprags, that handled all the post 9/11 stuff.
Right.
And how do I say this? Let's just say I know who they are. Okay. I can just say that. Let's just say I know who they are. You guys know I said earlier on where who I used to work for and all that stuff. So you guys at least I have heard, I know who they are. So that's a big deal. I'm a nobody. And so it's going to make a difference in this space. Security. And when it's not security again. And then at the very last second, when you are absolutely 100% ready to go, you stop, pick up the phone, call Wheat, and make sure everything is still okay. And then you go forward. Because we literally can't have enough security in this space.
No, but I also think that's why SafeMoon and the whole way that they're releasing things is the order that they're doing it is so important, and people are starting to get impatient. I get that part too, but it's like you could do all the most wonderful things in the world, but if you don't have that security piece figured out and it gets hammered, then you lose trust, you lose investors, and then you're starting basically all over again. If you can even pick up the pieces.
Or you lose your business, guys. Let's not act like this is just a loss of confidence, right? A badass hack, SafeMoon or anybody is done.
Anybody.
Done. Yeah. If it's bad enough, if Don had not been able to do what he did on that day, I'm not saying they're done. I'm not saying that, but that's a huge blow. I don't have that information, so I don't know what would have happened in stuff. But they say the point is that if it's a bad enough hack, that you're done. This isn't nothing at this level anyway, SafeMoon-ish level of where we are in DeFi. I don't know of any project that's going to be able to absorb a blow like, say, if you're Chase, none of them is JP Morgan Chase or Wells Fargo or any of those things. They can absorb a $50 million loss and say, oh, crap, we got hit. if you're safe, Moon, somebody can't come in and take 50 million from you or whatever it is, and then they're going to be okay. They're not. Yeah. They're going to be done. So you have to have that security set ready to go, completed, just nails, because now they're coming. They're coming. Yeah. They are 100% coming. I tell you this with 100% certainty. Look what happened to Binance.
Yep.
They are waiting. There is some fool sitting in his mom's freaking basement somewhere in World of Warcraft, talking to somebody saying, I can't wait till SafeMoon comes out and then we're going to get him. I'm telling you, he's sitting there. Yeah. He's waiting. They're waiting. And as soon as it comes out, they're going to and try to knock everything out and code their way and try to hack their way in. So they have to be ready to go.
Yep. Yeah. And so that should give us confidence. And and I think it does for the most part, but I am as stoked for SafeMoon now as I was the first time I bought in for it, however long ago that was. I can't even remember. Year and a half. I don't even remember what year it was. Short. It was about a month after it launched. Is that when we got in?
21.
Not long after.
21. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
21.
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's I'm with you 100% on that. But I love the talk, Bert. But I want to talk a little bit about you. Okay. And then we're going to get into some even more fun stuff and taste tests that you don't know what we're eating yet, and some questions and holotivity segment. But
I appreciate you staying away from your protocol. Thank you.
Okay, but I'm going to skip some of these questions that I have written down because I feel like we've answered some of them in the last few, just in the crypto talk. So first off, explain to the people out there that don't know what your shirt means.
All right, so guys, this is Hook. Let me do this to even it out. There's Hook. So Hook is a wrestler for AEW. He is he's another former wrestler. His name is Taz. It's his son. So Taz was part of ECW back in the day.
Yeah.
Y'all know
Taz Mission
Championship Wrestling out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They were hardcore, and they kind of changed the wrestling landscape for everybody. The ECW led into the heart of the Attitude Era back in the 90s. So everybody knows with The Rock and Stone Cold and Can You Smell What The Rock Is Cooking and Glass Breaking and the Dudley Boys and all that stuff. ECW helped kick that off along with WCW, and then and so Taz was a huge figure back then, and his son Hook, who played lacrosse actually and is a phenomenal athlete. He played lacrosse in college. He has now moved on to become a wrestler and has just one of the dopest gimmicks going right now. Really cool look, really fresh, kind of neat little way he comes in. He comes into Action Bronson, so it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So you know a lot about Hook. Do you know him personally?
I do not know him personally.
Okay.
I don't know him personally. My days in the industry ended long ago in a galaxy far I
Okay.
So I used to in another life I used to work in the industry a little bit. So yes, I worked locally here, and then I did some other stuff. But
behind the scenes, or did you ever get in the ring?
So behind the scenes stuff, and then some other things. There's other things I did. So I keep that a little bit more under wraps, but I'm sure there's arduous people out there that can find stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, we'll tell you that.
But nothing of note. So I was more a fan than anything else that just got a chance to do some things for a few years. So
that's cool.
I had a good voice. Let's just say I had a good voice, so I was able to do some ring stuff as well, announcing. I did some color play-by-play. I did some local commercial spots for some of the local wrestling stuff here in California and things like that. But that's 25 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it was.
Wow.
Nice.
Cool. No, you're talking to three people, and I don't actually know if Holly is a wrestling fan or not. We've never had that conversation. But Caleb and I used to watch Saturday Main Event. We'd stay up late and watch that when we were just little guys. When Caleb wasn't 6'8".
I wasn't even born.
Yeah, Greg wasn't even born. So
I think I watched wrestling. I mean, my brother was really into it when we were little, back in Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage days.
80s.
But it was WWF.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yep.
So yeah, I remember all of that, and they, my dad and my brother used to go to the WWF events. And he has autographs from some of the wrestlers, but I personally never really got into it. However, I I like the WWE, and then because I watch a show. And it's the Bellas, Total Bellas.
Oh
yeah. And so I do watch the girls like that. I mean, you know,
you see some of the wrestlers. You saw John on there. John Moxley on there.
Cena.
Yeah,
and Cena was on there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're all part of that show, but I mean, to actually watch it on TV as an event, no, I don't. I just watch the drama reality.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a wrestling related question real fast.
Oh.
Are you super stoked with the ownership change, or not the ownership, but the
Yes.
role change with Triple H taking
100%.
over?
Yeah.
100%. I know. So, you know, I stay as positive, like I told you guys earlier, as I possibly can. I really try to craft what I say on Twitter like that. There's a million. I mean, shit. If anyone hacked into my Twitter or whatever, there's probably 1,800 old messages that I almost sent and then didn't, and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I really try to craft my Twitter to be as positive as possible. So even some of the wrestling stuff that I want to post, you know, and stuff like I go back and forth with Thunder sometimes and everything like that or whatever, and I've stopped doing that, you know, even with Thunder Rosa and all that stuff. Some of the people that follow me on Twitter and the wrestlers and all that, but because some of it can get negative sometimes because I get passionate about it, you know, and stuff. I'll get pissed just as pissed at Charlotte Flair winning her 714th stupid title.
Yes, agreed.
But I will say I am very opinionated when it comes to wrestling. It was my point on that. So my opinion on that is 100%. How can I say this? I am a fan of what Vince was able to do for the industry. 1,000,000%. Without Vince McMahon, there absolutely is no wrestling today as we know it. It just is a fact. I don't care what anyone wants to say.
100% true.
You know, if you're a territory guy, if you're in your 50s and you're a territory guy from the South, you cannot deny that him, you know, buying, you know, Georgia South and all these other places wasn't the right move for wrestling to be able to push it into the 21st century. So that being said, I love Vince McMahon from that standpoint, right? From what he was able to do for the industry that I absolutely love and adore, that I think is one of the best forms of entertainment in the world, that I think personally has the most hardcore, best athletes anywhere in the sport. I'm a football guy and all that, but I think people have no idea what wrestlers go through, not even a clue. But I don't like the man personally for who he is and what he did, and I like him even less now, knowing, you know, the BS, probably sexist kind of stuff that went on with all the NDAs and all the bullshit, you know, and stuff, and
which people probably always assumed, but now they know.
Correct.
You know,
and so that really, really, really bothers me because it ruins my ability to even enjoy what I watch when I go back and watch Stone Cold and him go at it, which to me is the single greatest rivalry in the history of wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Boston versus Vince McMahon.
That's what I grew up through.
Yeah, everybody, right? I don't care who you are. You knew that battle because it's like, I want to fight my boss too and all that. So everything he did, everything he's done ruined that for me. Yeah. So for me, seeing Hunter, get a chance to run it and seeing Paul really get to take his vision and push it forward. To me, it's the right move. It's already shown through in what we've seen on television.
Sure has.
Some of the moves that he's made creatively have already made a huge difference. And so I think that it's the right move for the industry. And if nothing else, it doesn't allow AEW to stagnate, right? AEW is not going to be able to stagnate because Tony and those guys are going to have to push because now Triple H is coming. Yeah. And so Paul is absolutely coming 100%. The pissant comment that he made at the Hall of Fame and all that stuff and blah, 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 it is 100. That is him coming 100% now. Now he's in control. And he's made a lot of really good changes. I'm super stoked for what we've seen on WWE programming in general. I love the direction it's going. I think it's just only going to get better from here. And I really think that, if you are even a casual wrestling fan from the past, tune in to Wednesday nights and Monday nights and Friday nights because things are about to ramp up like you have not seen since, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s, or even, you know, the 11 through 13 with Punk, right?
Yep.
So what we got to see 11 through 13 was CM Punk. And so you're about to see that same kind of renaissance in wrestling where everybody is going to be talking about a storyline, and it's coming. There's a storyline out there that's going to hit, that's coming, that's going to catch on, that somebody's going to be there, that Holly is going to hear about and stuff, you know? And so it's absolutely going to happen.
Well, and they just hired somebody from that had interactions with Marvel, I believe. That
Correct.
His whole title, if I remember correctly, is for long-term storytelling.
Long-term creative development.
There you go. Yeah. Which is what has been missing for the last, I don't know, 2 decades, however long you want to say a decade.
Yeah. The only time they long-term story told was when they were forced to, right?
Yeah.
So when we, the fans, said, screw you, Daniel Bryan is our guy, that he had to tell that story. He had to tell that story. When we said, screw you, Vince, Kofi is our guy, I get goosebumps from the Kofi story.
Oh, yeah.
He had to tell us that story about Kofi Kingston.
Yep.
And look what happened. It caught fire. It went nuts. It was on ESPN and every local news broadcast. Why? Because people enjoy that part of wrestling. They like the revelry. They like the positivity. They like the cool moments. It's something they can talk about and highlight. And they're larger than life figures, all those things. So it's one of the things that I really, really love about wrestling. And I'm really excited, hopefully, to start to see some more of that. Look, the best story in wrestling right now is what? The Bloodline, right? It's the best story in wrestling going. I mean, it has gone on for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I have been as anti-Roman at certain points as everybody.
Man, yes.
But dude, when it's good, it is so good.
Yeah.
If you watch that Sami Zayn getting his shirt scene.
Yeah.
If you watch that segment and it did not affect you emotionally, there's something wrong with you. Whether you're a wrestling fan or not, if that didn't pull at your heartstrings and take you on the roller coaster where you were just sure as hell that Roman was
good job.
There you go. He was about to kick Sammy in his proverbial jujubes.
Yeah.
And then he does it and he makes him an honorary oos.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. It is the best story going. And listen to this. How amazing is that going to be when Sammy turns, or when they turn on Sammy, because Jay's already doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So when they turn on Sammy and turn Sammy back into one of the biggest faces ever, and we get to hear the that place, when he turns face and his old entrance theme pops, that place is gonna pop like no other when that happens.
You're not wrong.
That is what I love about wrestling.
Yeah.
So, so I could talk to you about wrestling for, I don't know, an entire weekend.
Yeah, you could.
But we don't have that much time. So I want to ask you one last question about when it comes to that. Who's taking the belt off Roman?
Cody.
Okay. I think that's a solid answer.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's got to be Cody. Like, there's a million people. You can make an argument for just about everybody. You can build an argument from everyone from Austin Theory to Randy Orton, right? There's a way to build an argument for anyone. For me,
or Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, I think, but Bray doesn't need a title, right? Like Bray doesn't need a title.
No.
Yeah.
And so for me, you brought him over. It was everything you wanted it to be. You gave him everything that he wanted, and it worked. It worked so well. And then Cody, being Cody, made it work times a million, right? With the match and the huge bruise and the whole thing.
Gained so much respect for him.
So much respect.
Yeah.
And so for me, you have it. It's literally gifted to you on a platter when he comes back. You go in, you have him take the belt off Roman before WrestleMania. And the story leading into WrestleMania is The Rock and Roman for who is the true head of the table. And that absolutely cannot have a belt attached to it.
Yeah,
if Roman has the belt leading into WrestleMania against The Rock, it ruins that whole story because it takes away any chance that you can even for 1 minute suspend disbelief about the outcome. Because you know for a fact that when it's all said and done, there's no physical way that Dwayne is going to hang on to that belt because he's not a long-term solution. He would just be coming in to do a 4-month shot, right?
Yeah.
He's not staying with the WWE for the next 5 years, and so he's going to be your title holder. He's gone. So you know he's going to lose. So it would ruin that story if it has a belt because you'd be more focused on the championship than on the battle. So I think you have him lose to Cody if he's ready to go at the Rumble. If he's ready, if he's not ready to go at the Rumble, then I think you got to play with it a little bit. But I think you lose to Cody. You have him have Cody beat him at the Rumble. And then I think you have him head in from the Rumble to WrestleMania. You do a 4-month shot with him and The Rock. So yeah,
my only fear behind that is if they do it, he's not ready at the Rumble, and then they do the title change too quickly, that then they don't have much time to build it for The Rock and Roman, but we'll see.
I hope they don't get caught up in where they do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, me too.
I don't think Triple H is going to get caught up in where they drop the title. And if you're not a wrestling fan, what I mean by that is not like place. I mean the pay-per-view event. So if you're Vince McMahon, right, you're not going to take a 2.5-year storyline where Roman has had the title for 700 or 800 days, and then you're going to drop the title at Fastlane, right? Yeah. Vince would never do that. Vince would never drop the title at one of those secondary pay-per-views. Triple H, I think, would drop the title where it makes sense, which gives it more ambiguity and it makes it a little more mysterious.
Makes you want to tune in.
I think Triple H absolutely will do that. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm Caleb. Please like and subscribe.